We are live, by the way, just to let you know. Right, okay, let's start at 7 o'clock. Wednesday, 20th of August. Welcome to Ealing Planning Committee. Right, we have one application on the agenda today. So I'll go through the agenda first. Any apologies for absence and substitutions? I think everyone's here, so no absences. Cornelia?
No absences, but we have Councillor Conti is a substitute for Councillor Gallant. Yes, sorry.
Thank you for reminding him. Okay, any urgent matters? No, not aware of any urgent matters. Declarations of interest? No, no declarations of interest. Any matters to be considered in private? I'm not aware of any. Nope. Right. Minutes of the last meeting on the 23rd of July. Are they a true and correct record of the minutes of the meeting held? Thank you. Site visit attendance. Right. I wasn't present myself. So I will go through the names that I think were present, and if you tell me any corrections, please. So Councillor Martin, Councillor Coley, Councillor Mahmood, Councillor Iqbal, Councillor Conti. Is that correct? Okay. The rest are all apologies. Thank you. Right. We had a speaker, an objector, Bridget O'Donoghue, who's now withdrawn her speaking rights. So unfortunately, can't take Mr. Thompson on as a speaker in his own right. That's our current rules. So we have Chen Hao to put the case forward for what 96-102 Broadway, West Ealing. If you can, Chen Hao, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Chap. Members, good evening. The application before you today seeks full planning permission for the redevelopment of number 96 to 106 Broadway to provide a 9-story apartment hotel with 268 rooms, together with ground floor commercial and co-working space, landscaping associated works. The site is located within Ealing Metropolitan Town Centre with a highly accessible public transport for visitors. As shown on this map here, there are several bus stops along Broadway, and the site is within walking distance to West Ealing Station, train station to the northeast. The site itself is not a development site. However, as shown on this map here, the site is surrounded by a number of allocated sites as outlined in red. Most of the sites are for mixed-use residential development and are considered in principle suitable for tall buildings more than 6-story. The site itself is not within a conservation area and it does not contain any listed buildings. The site was previously occupied by the Woolworths building, which was demolished in early 2020 following granting of a previous planning permission. The right-hand side photos here are showing the pre-existing building on the site, and on the left are the current site condition. The site benefits from a previous planning permission granted in 2020 for erection of a Part 11, Part 15-story building for 120 residential flats. However, due to economic factors, including the increased build cost, interest rate, and changes to the building regulations to request a second staircase, the extant planning permission is no longer viable to deliver. This page is a summary of the key features of the current proposal. The principle of a hotel development is considered acceptable in this location. Both the London Plan and local plan policies identifies the need of hotel in the capital and promotes visitor accommodation in town centre locations. Officers consider that the proposal would broaden the mix of use and support the economic activities in this town centre location in line with the London Plan policies. Turning to the design and appearance, the application has gone through substantial pre-application with the council and was presented to the design review panel and community review panel. The proposed building is 9-story at maximum, stepping down in height to integrate with the adjacent development on both Broadway and Singapore Road elevation. This image is showing the Long Street section along Broadway. The design draws inspiration from the Art Deco facade of the regional Woolworths building, but interprets it in a modern, contemporary way. The primary entrance is located centrally along Broadway with full-height glazed windows on the ground floor. This is a visualization of the front elevation of the building. This image is showing the ground floor main entrance and the shop front for the co-working and cafe along Broadway. This image is showing the street staying along Singapore Road. Basically, it's the rear of the site. A secondary entrance is also provided along this elevation for the hotel users, together with back of house facilities, including delivery and servicing, waste collection, and cycle storage access. This image is showing the visualization of the Singapore Road elevation. The building would be served by 2 staircases, one near Broadway and one near Singapore Road. This image is showing a typical, on the left is showing the typical floor plan for the hotel room arrangements. All rooms will have a window for outlook and daylight. The layout arrangement has also evolved during the pre-application stage to provide some possibility for future adaptability for other uses, such as residential accommodation. As you can see on the right-hand side photo, it is an indicative plan showing how the building can be adapted to other uses in the future. For example, it is possible to combine some of the corner rooms and the ones in the middle to form residential flats ranging from studios to 3-bedroom flats. In terms of landscaping, the proposal would achieve a biodiversity net gain of 10% with green roof on the rooftop and first floor podium. A sunken courtyard is also provided as a ground floor. This image is showing the sunken courtyard on the ground floor. The courtyard is also linked to the ground floor co-living area and it's open to the public. This is a visualization of the ground floor co-working space and the sunken courtyard. On the quality of accommodation, the proposed rooms are considered to provide a good standard for apartment hotel format. All rooms will be equipped with kitchenettes and ensuite bathrooms. The room sizes will range from 21 to 31 square meters. 10% of the rooms will be wheelchair accessible in line with the London Plan requirements. On neighbouring amenity, previously and overlooking impacts are considered acceptable in line with the Ealing Housing Design Guidance, suggesting a 18-meter separation distance from the neighboring windows. This is a section plan of the proposed development, especially showing the distance to number 104 Broadway to the west of the site. The distance to the wall of the neighboring building is 18 meter, and the distance to the balcony is around 16.5 meter. A detailed daylight and sunlight assessment has also been submitted. The report noted that some neighboring rooms will be impacted. However, a number of the impacted rooms are on the recessed balconies at the corner of the lower ground levels that are already partially overshadowed by the massing of the neighboring buildings. In addition, the proposal represents improvements on the overall daylight and sunlight impact compared to the previously consented scheme on all of the neighboring buildings considered. Overall, the neighboring impact is considered acceptable within the urban context, having regard to the massing of the neighboring development and what has been considered acceptable under the previous planning consent. In terms of transport, the scheme is car-free and cycle parking will be provided according to land and plan standard. The northern part of this slide is showing the comparison of the northern parts of land to the rear of the site. This area is currently a disabled car parking owned by the council. However, this area has been subject to unauthorized parking, which has obstructed the proposed rear entrance to the site. As part of this application, officers have been liaising with the council's parking and highways team to designate the car park as adopted roads to prevent illegal parking and ensure free entrance to the rear of the site. It should also be noted that the proposed car parking arrangement is actually outside the red line boundary and it does not form part of this application. However, in the Section 106 legal agreement, we have secured adoption of this parcel of land basically in this slide is showing an indicative parking layout proposed by the applicant. This is not part of this application and will be subject to further discussion with the council's highways team, and the final arrangement will be confirmed as part of the legal agreement. Section 106 contributions have also been secured through the legal agreement towards public realm, transport, employment and skills, air quality, town centre contribution, and police infrastructure. To conclude, officers consider that the proposal makes efficient use of the use of land of the current site, leave us a high quality building and comply with the development plans. The recommendation is therefore to grant planning permission subject to conditions set out in the report and completion of the Section 106 legal agreement. Thank you.
Thank you, Chen Hao. That was comprehensive. Okay, opening up for questions. Councillor Mahmood first to show. Keep your hands up though, all the others. Go ahead, Councillor Mahmood.
Thank you, Chair. Just to clarification, affordable working spaces. So that's you said the working spaces, co-working spaces. Are they affordable for the communities, or is a normal co-working spaces? And second is you were talking about the back entrance from Singapore. There is a gap between the Singapore Road and the main building, and I think you were talking about the parking or adoption. I just wanted to know more about that. Is it included in our plan tonight, or you will be considering that out of that planning committee? Thank you.
I think so. Just said that it's outside of tonight's. It's outside of the red line. Therefore, I'll let him answer it. Sorry. Sorry, how many questions have you got, Councillor Rice? 2, right. We'll take yours and then we'll bring in Chen Hao, all right? Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Right. So, first of all, can I ask about water and Thames Water was consulted on this, and they just were quite emphatic that there just wasn't the sufficient water supply in order to function with the building, and it mentioned there about having conditions, but I've checked the conditions; they don't really seem to be. I mean, they don't really seem to provide us like an answer for me as to how we're going to get over this problem of there not being enough of water supply, because conditions seem to put the responsibility on Thames Water to solve the problem that they've flagged up in the first place. So I'm just wondering to get some kind of clarity or some kind of reassurance that there is actually a proper plan in place to ensure that there will be water there, and it's not just Thames Water having to do the work, it's going to be on our side or the developer's side in order to do that. And also, can I just ask about the kind of the logic with the cycling as well, because we've got cycle parking. I think it's a point I may have previously made. I know which I may sound like I'm repeating myself a bit, but I can't really see how people are going to come to a hotel to stay at a hotel on their bicycle, because they're obviously not going to be able to carry luggage, and you're not going to be able to travel from very far. So I'm trying to work out what the cycle parking really is there to do. And as far as staff are concerned, it's not really the kind of thing that staff might want to really be involved. It might want to cycle to and from work, especially if they're working unsociable hours. It might be, I can't really see that happening. So I just wondered, was there any kind of thought process there? I mean, is it possible that maybe they could have thought about putting some cycle hire in there, so people who are staying at the hotel who maybe travelled in by train could then get a bicycle in order to get out and about and enjoy London and the surrounds? Thank you.
Right, Jen, how can we take those four for now, please?
Okay, thank you. Just for the first question regarding the co-working space on the ground floor, so it is not a football workspace. Basically, a football workspace in our local plans mainly for industrial office floor space, but for this application, the ground floor is actually commercial, so it's co-working space. It's different from office in nature. It's commercial, basically. It's sort of like a cafe. You can go to that area and work during the day. The nature of the ground floor is commercial. It is currently designed as a co-working space, but during the community review panel, some of the members also suggested some interesting ideas. For example, if the ground floor is no longer needed as a co-working space in the future, it can possibly be adapted to other commercial uses. So basically, the ground floor is commercial in nature. So that's not a football workspace.
So it's a shared workspace for now.
Yeah.
And if circumstances change, it could be different.
Yeah, but that'll be subject to another application in the future.
Okay, thanks. Got it.
On the second question regarding the gap and the parking, basically it is because this part of land is owned by the council and outside the application right land boundary, so it is not part of the application we are determining tonight. The purpose of us bringing up this plan is because the current condition of this car parking is cars are parking illegally at the rear of the site, blocking the proposed rear entrance. So as part of this application, we will have to have a Section 106 legal agreement head of terms to adopt this part of land, to prevent people from parking in front of the rear at the rear of the site. And the proposed plan here is indicative. It is only showing one of the possibilities to rearrange the parking, but it'll be open for further discussion between the council and the highways team. But it is not part of the application. This application, basically, and on the Thames Water conditions. Sorry, I'm just.
You want me to take that, Jenna?
Yeah.
On that one, we have added condition 25. So that would require discussions between the council and Thames Water, as well as the applicant as well, with regard to the development not being able to be occupied until that's been resolved.
Yeah, so how's that going to be resolved? Is there any clarity behind that, please? Thank you.
Yeah, just on condition 25, basically Thames Water, they're requesting all water network to be either it ought to be upgraded prior to occupation to accommodate the level of people inside this building, or the applicant, they propose a development infrastructure phasing plan to be agreed with with Thames Water. Basically to upgrade the water infrastructure in the area. So it is up to the applicant to demonstrate there will be enough capacity to serve the building prior to occupation. And regarding the cycle parking, the first reason for the provision of cycle parking is because it is requested in the London plan. We have been discussing this point also with our own council's transport officer. Basically, they consider, because this is an apartment hotel, it is not only for the travelers, it can be also for some students or professionals or digital nomads. They may be staying in the building for longer periods, for example, like for 2 or 3 months, and the cycle parking spaces actually will serve their need. Yeah. And another thing on the cycle parking is, I think for the development at number 137, just to also along West Ealing, for that development, the co-living development along the road, for that application, there will be shared parking facilities on the pavement, you know, or people can just use these facilities. It's just walking from within walking distance from the site. Yeah.
Okay, right, thank you. Councillor Conti, then Councillor Coley. I haven't seen any. Councillor Wall. Anyone else? Carry on, Councillor Conti. Sorry. Anyone else put their hands up, please?
Thank you. I had just 2 questions. One was about sort of overlooking, so between this building and the building directly to the west on the road, and so there's obviously the ingress between the 2 buildings. I know in the report it's obviously 18 metres, and since there's design considerations been taken into account to try and reduce overlook. I just wonder if you could just expand on what that is. Are the windows offset so people aren't directly looking into each other's rooms? Because I know obviously it's 80 metres, but when we looked on Saturday, it did look quite a small distance. And then just finally, and obviously you've mentioned it isn't part of the application, but if in the section 106, essentially if the council didn't come to an agreement about this small plot of land at the back, because obviously on Saturday with all the cars parked, there'd be no access. So would there have to be a plan B or an alternative in terms of the access on Singapore Road for utilities, etc., or for deliveries, etc. If, for example, the council weren't to come to an agreement, because obviously you can't deliver from the Uxbridge Road side.
Okay, hold those for a minute, Janelle. Councillor Coley, how many questions you got? Just out of interest.
Councillor Conti has asked my second question already.
Oh well, okay. No need for repetition.
Okay, yes. Thank you, Chair. Right, my concern is with the light going into, so I'm looking at the existing building on the left-hand side from the front elevation. My concern is about the light going into those flats at floor level 2 to 5. I feel that, you know, what does the sunlight daylight report show? That does it meet the minimum requirement? Because I'm very concerned. I can see that you've kept a distance of 18 meters, which I do welcome. I understand that's part of our plan, but because it's like a big hollow, so I'm just concerned, how does sunlight penetrate levels 2 to 5? Or what level of penetration there is of sunlight? Thank you.
Okay, let's take those 3 questions, please. Chen Hao. Got 2 other councillors after that.
Okay. Just on the first question, overlooking, this is the image in the committee report. Basically, it is showing the 18-meter separation distance between the proposed building and 104 Broadway to the west. 18-meter basically is normally the separation distance between the new building and the neighboring building to prevent overlooking in urban environments. And also, as you can see on this plan here, you see the you can see the arrows. The windows are not directly facing each other. So from the neighboring building, the windows are mainly facing the bottom of the floor plate, so it's not directly looking into the windows. And from the hotel, it is looking into the window is largely looking at the balconies, so it's not directly facing the window. So the floor plates are sort of slightly staggered to avoid overlooking. Just on the car parking, this is a proposed car parking arrangement proposed by the applicant. You can also see the proposed footway improvement on this plan. This is also not part of the application, but this is part of the West Ealing Living Neighborhood Scheme, which will be delivered by the council's highways team, maybe in the following years. Basically, the council has got a plan to improve the current cycle and pedestrian footways along Singapore Road, along the whole Singapore Road, not just the section in front of the site. So basically, this car parking arrangement will be integrated into the council's Singapore Road highways WACC. So just to regarding is there any alternative plans? So basically, previously, before the building was demolished, this area was also used as disabled car parking. So basically, before we have proper signage, just to disabled parking signage and things like that, just to prevent people parking illegally in that area. These signages have been removed after the building was demolished. So so in the Section 106 agreement, apart from adopting this part of land, we are also proposing, to put these signages back, so to ensure this area is solely used for disabled parking and people actually parking in the parking lots drawn. So if there will be any future cars, parking in front of the rear entrance, we will be able to take enforcement actions and issue penalties, things like that, to prevent such situations in the future. On the daylight and sunlight condition on the ground floor, yeah, so basically there will be some impact to the
Floors 2 to 5, I think was the actual question.
Yeah. So basically the report acknowledged that there will be some impact to the lower ground floor levels. But first thing is these areas are already partially overshadowed by the existing massing of the building and the overhang balcony. The second thing is for this application, we do have to consider what has been previously granted on the site. The report acknowledged that there will be some impact. There will be some impact to these lower floor levels, and not all the rooms are strictly in accordance with the BRE guidance. Basically, this table is showing the comparison between the previously consented scheme and the current scheme. These figures are only showing the 100% compliant windows. You see for 104 Broadway, there's actually an improvement compared to the previous scheme, and these results are showing 100% compliant. Many of the rooms that does not comply, it doesn't mean they will receive no daylight sunlight. Maybe some of the rooms, the reduction may be below the BRE guidance, but they are still acceptable within the urban environment, or they have been improved compared to what has been consented previously.
Councillor Coley, you're looking quizzical.
If the daylight does not meet the minimum level, which you're saying some of them don't, are we not open to challenges? Because there is we're all aware that there is, case law where people have challenged that, and that they can stop the actual building going ahead.
Yeah, just for the data BRE guidance, and data center situation. So, BRE guidance is not a planning policy. So basically, it doesn't mean just because not all the rooms are fully compliant, it doesn't meet the planning policy. Basically, the BRE guidance, also in the national planning policy framework, it recognizes that in the urban environment, sometimes it may be inevitable for the new development to have some impact on the neighboring buildings. So basically, some deviations from the BRE guidance does not mean it is not comply with the planning policies. We do have to consider the development within the context, in this application, we do also have to consider what has previously been consented. It is about because the previous application in some way it is also a fallback position. It is also about what we have considered acceptable, the degree of impact we have considered acceptable on the site before. Yeah.
So what you're saying is that it's better than the previous consented scheme in terms of daylight and sunlight, and the actual scheme.
The overall results.
And it's not doing itself any favours with overhanging balconies and things like that, and what's already built out.
Yeah, because the lower floor levels, because they are quite low, and because of the parapet wall of the parapet wall of the neighboring building, and also because its shape, these lower floors, they are already partially overshadowed by
itself.
Yeah, by the building itself. Yeah.
So, hi. If the application is appealed, it will go to the Planning Inspectorate, and we will go through the normal motions of the appeal, and all the information that we have been given will be put towards the Inspectorate, and the decision will be made then.
It's the other way around, isn't it? It'd be it wouldn't be appealed. JR, yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, and there was no JR on the original application. Right, okay. Right, I'll move on. Sorry. Councillor Wall, then Councillor Summers. How many questions you got, Councillor Wall?
Just one.
Okay, and you, Councillor? One. Right, good. Right, okay, right. I won't go there. Right.
Yeah, my question is about the management plan, really, and in relation to prevention of slippage into non-compliant residential use. I understand that it will be monitored, but I just would like to understand a bit more about how this would work in practice. For instance, is there a maximum length of stay? Would that be rigidly enforced? Would there be any grounds for flexibility, and how would that work? Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Summers.
Actually, Councillor Wall has asked
half
the question I was going to ask.
3/4 or
about 3/4 of it. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Get the other 3/4 out then. Go on.
So I was just going to ask, and this is, this may not be, it's not a planning. It's not for us to decide now. But if, say, this apartment hotel were to be given permission and go and then go bust because they couldn't, find enough, would those rooms be, with kitchenettes, etc., would they be of a size that, it could be converted to housing and they would be sort of one-person flats, or are they too?
I think that if you saw the slide earlier, there is a potential further down the line to convert or to amalgamate units together to make them into studio up to 3-bedroom flats. But there's a question from me, sorry, just to add to that would have to come back to this committee or come back as an application rather than, but that would be in total. But if you did one home, would that still have to come back to this committee? So you just did one.
Yeah, because they're not capable to be self-contained residential homes, so it would have to come back.
Right. Okay. Sorry. I jumped in, got my answer before the rest of the committee. Sorry, privilege, I suppose. Right. Okay. Let's get back to the management plan, please.
Yeah, just regarding the management plan, basically we have also approved some other apartment hotels in the borough, so we do have some experience in drafting these management plans. For example, in one of the Section 106 legal agreement for another apartment hotel in the borough, we have like in the management plan, we have terms like requesting no more than 20% of the rooms will be let out to a single cohort. For example, no more than 20% of the rooms can be occupied by a single cohort, such as students, visitors, students, professionals that are living longer in the property. So basically, the applicant they'll also have to submit regularly the monitoring information to us just to confirm the length of stay of the guests within the hotel. And if we do find out some people are staying longer in the hotel and using the rooms as, maybe primary addresses, then we'll be able to take enforcement actions, just to ensure people are not using it, living inside the properties permanently, and the rooms actually remain as short stay to short-term to mid-term stays. Yeah.
Can I just come back? So is there like a time limit? Would you,
So on that one, just as Chen Hao was saying, so technically the length of stay is unrestricted, and anyone who stays there requires a license to stay there for more than 30 days. What we would require as part of the legal agreement is for guests who are staying longer than 90 days to provide us with to be provided a record of that, so we can view like the length of stay and see if it is actually potentially changing to something more akin to a traditional C3 use. So that's as part of the management plan, which would be secured in the Section 106 legal agreement. And I think just the other point that the management would be done by a single management company, just to ensure that I think everybody understands when you're staying there what is expected of you. And I guess the other point Chen Hao mentioned about 20% of rooms going to cohorts. That's also, for example, if the Home Office wanted to house people in here, or if it was students or a particular construction company. So it can't be any more than 20% of a particular group.
Yeah, just on the second point regarding the kitchenettes inside the rooms, basically the room sizes will be ranging from 21 to 31 square meters. The 31 square meter rooms are the larger ones for accessible units. So basically, all these rooms are below the minimum space standard for a studio flat. And also, due to the nature of the proposal, we are not allowing any person to use the rooms as permanent self-contained flats. And in the future, if there's no need for an apartment hotel, there is possibility to combine some of the rooms to form larger, policy compliant residential flats. But this will be subject to another application in the future, allowing us to assess the quality of the proposed living accommodations.
Okay, right. I see no more questions, so I'm going to move on to debate. Okay, right. So for debate now, please indicate. Councillor Gordon, would you like to kick off, please? And anyone else, please keep your hands up.
Thank you, Chair.
Right.
Thank you, Chair. So this application, this development's in my ward. So it's a hole in the ground that I know very well. Since it was created 5 years ago. West Ealing is crying out for buildings to be built, high quality improvements to the street, to the main road. There's a hole in the road, hole in the ground at the moment, which is absolutely appalling. I actually welcome this application. I think obviously the design is very attractive. Yeah, the echoes of the Woolworths so-called Art Deco facade. I wasn't great fan of it, and when in 2020 didn't have much truck with the objections based on the facade. But this is very attractive. I think the height is appropriate. You know, we've had endless discussions on huge buildings, and this isn't. This is appropriate and actually smaller than many of the recently approved developments along the Broadway. There is a concern that this is not going to get built quickly. Again, the Broadway is littered with works not happening. So I'd implore on the developer, if it is passed today, just to crack on and do the work, sort out the legal sides, particularly with the land at the back. But I'm absolutely convinced that this is a good application, so we'll be supporting it.
Of course, the legal side is both sides of the coin, isn't it? So, so you're telling both sides of the coin to crack on, aren't you? That's the steer I got from your speech there, Councillor Gordon. Thank you, Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm on the High Streets Task Force, and so I'm very concerned about ensuring our high streets keep healthy and strong. So, I mean, I didn't actually go to the site visit, but I did have an opportunity last week to go and have a look to see where it's situated. And my concern was, are we going to end up with a hotel breaking up a row of shops? That's not going to happen. I can see there's a gym next door, so I think that's really appropriate the where it's situated. The other thing that I noticed as well is, of course, with an apartment hotel, people will be cooking their own food and they'll need to buy food. There's the Lidl's next door, and I think Lidl's will be very pleased to have the extra business because we know that they're doing.
So there are other shops as well.
Oh yes, yeah, there are other shops as well.
No, it's not an advert for Lidl's, by the way.
The road, yeah.
So yeah, I must mention Sainsbury's because
but I think the benefit with that, I think with Lidl's in particular, is I know they've done us a bit of a favour by having a supermarket there, which is good for the whole community because it's one place where we haven't actually got a car park. I know they normally like to have their Lidl's where there's a car park, but they've got that there, and they've got a good a good guaranteed source of income in the area. The people who live there and people are going to be staying in the apartment hotels. So that's very positive as well. I want to say I do very much support the idea of apartment hotels because I've used them elsewhere. I was away last week on holiday in a very expensive country, and I do actually bitterly regret not going to an apartment hotel. It would have at least saved me on having to pay out at restaurants to have dinner if I could have cooked my own food. So I think this is very much something to be supportive of. And we talked about students and other people living there, maybe on a longer term basis, which does imply to me that it's going to be cheap enough in order to stay in and to live in for a period of time. So that really does fit the bill for me. It just means that it's affordable to stay. So I think I can very much appreciate that and very much support that. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm sure Lidl's will appreciate the advert there. Okay, Councillor Raza.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to echo what Councillor Gordon was saying about how the hole in the ground has been pretty grim to look at for a long time. And as part of the congregation of the West London Islamic Centre, I'm pretty certain that the general area would benefit from having this scheme built. I'm particularly impressed with the amenities that are on the ground floor and the fact that there is something for people to sort of be creating their own wealth and doing the sort of nomadic work, which seems to be where work is moving towards more flexible models. So I think the sort of flexibility of this scheme is actually really to its credit, that it gives a lot of opportunities once it's up and running. So I'm minded to support.
Right, I'm not seeing anyone else eager to speak. Councillor Summers, this is 1 3/4.
Yeah, just very briefly. I think it's a shame, obviously, that we don't have housing here. We have a housing crisis in the borough, and it would have been great if we could have housing, but the previous scheme was obviously turned out to be not viable. I'm interested in the possibility of future flexible, that this could conceivably in the future, if the hotel doesn't work out, be converted to housing. And I hear what Councillor Gordon says about this would be an improvement on what is there now, and it looks, tastefully designed. So I would be minded to support it.
Thank you. Right. Okay. Yeah, I concur with almost everything's been said in the debate. It almost brings me back to my childhood, Woolworths. But okay, all right. I'm going to go to the vote. All those in favour, please indicate. Right. Who's counting these? Yeah, I know it's unanimous, but who's counting them?
It's fair to-
Oh. Right, just for clarity, all those against? Any abstentions? Right, so that application is passed. Thank you very much. Pardon? I did originally, so I counted myself, yes. There's not, as you said, it's not pick and mix, but yeah, all right. Thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you in September. Thanks a lot.